Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing some sunset ombre dip nails. I hope you enjoy it. And I got a new vacuum for the dust. So I'm super excited about this because I'm doing this in my bedroom and this dust gets everywhere. So it came with 3 bags and it was like the soft touch top. And it works beautifully, but you'll see that here. So I will have that linked below for you guys if you're interested in it. So to start off, of course, we've got to take off my old set. So I get toenail clippers and I clip just before where my natural nail would start underneath, and then clip off the top tip part so that we have less filing to do. Then you get a pair of nippers to get the stones off. So I generally actually use wire cutters for this, but I cannot find mine, so I think I have to get a new pair or something. I misplaced a lot of stuff right now. I'm missing a lot. So there were a few stones I could not get off, so I'm just showing you here. You could use a bit like this, a carbide bit, to go through and get some of the stones off, but you'll see here in just a moment what I prefer to use for this. But I just wanted to give you both options in case this is what you have. You could also use like an arbor band on a mandrel, but I think the carbide bits work better. So this little bitty bit is also a carbide bit, but it's just a tiny little circle bit, and it works perfectly to get around the edges of these really stuck on bigger stones that I can't get with those little nippers. And basically you just go around and cut a well off around the sides, and you can see they just pop right off. You just basically break the seal around the edges and they just pop right off, so it works perfectly. And then once you get off all the stones, I go back with my coarse grit safety bit, the carbide, and I'll link this set that I have down below for you guys as well. It was both bits, the carbide bits here that I used came in that same set. So you just want to file down your product. This was polygel, and I file it down as thin as I can get it before I soak the rest off. I would have just left a really thin layer if I was going to go in with more polygel, but I was going to do dip nails this time, and I've never done them before, so I wasn't sure if it would work well to leave any product there. Plus I'm going to be putting tips on, so I figured might as well just soak off whatever's left on. So like I said, just go ahead and file that down as thin as you can get it, without touching the natural nail or burning yourself at all. With a carbide bit like this, you want to use it on real high speed and a very gentle touch, and it'll just come off like butter. Here I'm just showing you the amount of dust I had in my bag. Like I said, it worked so perfectly and I was so happy with it. So that was great. So I did go through and get some acetone. There you go. Some acetone, and put those on my nails with the clips and let it soak for 7 minutes. And then I just go through and gently try to push off anything that has started to kind of loosen and pop off. And I do push my cuticles back a little bit in this process as well. Then I go back through and put the cotton back on with more acetone and let it soak more. Generally I have to do this 2 or 3 times, just depending, but I think I'm going to try. I saw another video of someone's where they put foil on first before the clips. So they wrapped it with foil and then put the clip on, and it just helped so much. It worked better than foil alone. It worked better than the clips. I think the problem with the clips is that too much of the acetone evaporates, so it doesn't have the opportunity to soak it off as well as it needs to. So you could help that process as well by like putting a hot towel around your hands, tying a bag on. But like I said, I think I'm going to try the foil next time and then put the clips on top of that. So this was my 3rd soak. So I do 7 minutes the first time, and then I do 5 minutes every time after that. And so I just gently pushed the rest off, and then I was able to just file off the tiny little bit that was left. And now we're just going to go through and push back all of my cuticles, and then we'll go ahead and shape the nails so that they are prepped and ready for the dip. I'm just using a 180 grit file here and just gently going through and shaping the nails up. So once the nails have been shaped, I do go in with a medium grit arbor band and I just remove the shine from the nails. You can also use like a cuticle bit to get around the edges. I did that before I did my arbor band, but I lost the footage for some reason. I'm not sure what happened to that little clip. So just know that I did do that, and then I went through and prepped my nails with medium grit arbor band. And because you're on your natural nails, you want to use it at a really slow speed on your e-file. Basically, I turn it down as low as I can get it without it turning off or without it stopping when it hits the nail. But it is super slow because you don't want to do any damage or take off any real layers of your nail. You just want to remove the shine, basically. And I also, even though I went around the cuticles with a cuticle bit, I still go around those edges with the arbor band just to make sure that they are prepped nicely. Then we go through and remove all the dust with some alcohol. And before I prep my nails further, I'm going to get my tips ready. I do have full well tips, but I'm going to show you a trick how to make them regular tips that sit at the top of your fingers. So you just take your tip cutters and cut off the curved part of the back just to make it straight. Then you take I use a 100 grit file here, and you put it at about a 30 to 45 degree angle, up to 50 degree angle, I guess it would be, and just hit that back area. And this is going to actually give it a really beautiful deep smile line so that it's not just a straight across where it lays on the nail. So once you have it filed, and I just kind of use my finger to pull it up so I can see the shape of that smile line, then I just dip a cotton swab in acetone and rub it along where that extra plastic bit is, and it just melts it right off. But you can see here how I get this really deep, beautiful smile line, so it fits really nicely on the fingertip. And then I've got the full well tips because I use them on my practice hand, and I don't use tips very often. This was for my old practice hand, but I got a new one now, so you'll see that in my next video. I'm really excited. But okay, so once you get that done, I do take my arbor band, the same one I used before, and I pull it up on my mandrel a bit so that it is just kind of like open in the top area, and then I just use that top area that isn't on the mandrel to just buff up the edge of each of the tips. Now this is the prep and dehydrate that I'm using just to dehydrate my nails, and then I'm going in with the ASP Extra Strength Primer. I do prime my nails twice, but I do it first now before I do my tips because I find that they stay on better when I have that primer on. I've found for tips for me, if I don't have that primer on, they don't like to stay. So I do the primer now and then glue on my tip, hold it for a moment, and then I do pinch it just to get those corners to lay in real nice. Otherwise, sometimes you can have those corners stick up a bit. Now for these tips, you do want to make sure that they fit the nail really nicely. If you need to go a little bigger rather than smaller, definitely do that. You'd rather have them bigger and have to file them down a little bit. So now I am going to measure my nails. I start by clipping the thumb, and then I grab 2 nail forms and I put the sticky sides together. I learned this technique by Nail by Nikki. I'll have her link below. So you just take the form and you measure the nail, and you could see it ended right above that 2 line. So then you just take the forms and you line it up on each nail and you mark right after that 2 line. Now using your tip cutter, you want to make sure that it's not the actual cutter or like the part that you slide on that lines up with the mark. You want to make sure it's that blade in back that lines up with the mark because it does cut it differently. So now I'm just going to go ahead again with that 180 grit file and shape up the tips. I do tend to shape them just a little bit like thinner than what I normally would. Like this is going to be a tapered square. So I would taper in the top a little more than I normally would, just because once you get the product on top, it is going to bulk out a little bit. So then I will go through and just blend in the smile line here so that it blends nicely with my natural nail. So you can see here after I buff a little bit and then I feel. I buff a little bit and I feel. Because I want it to blend in with my natural nail really nicely, but I don't want to over buff it. So that's how I'm feeling it. So this is the dip kit I'm using. This was this is where I'm doing my second prime, sorry. I know I'm kind of all over the place with this one, guys. I edited this down a lot, so it's kind of going quicker for me than I normally am used to, but so that dip kit, if you want to know more about it, I got it at Ulta, and it's by Red Carpet Manicure brand. It has all the primary colors, so you can actually mix your own colors, which is what I did here. I mixed a pale yellow and a paler orange. So what I do is I prime all of the nails a second time now that I've got the tips on, and then I'm just going in for the ombre. So I do 2 fingers at a time, then I flash cure those and then go to the next one. So for my first layer, if you want an apex to be built up, you want to do a layer of clear first, just in that apex point behind where the tip sits. Then once that's done, I didn't do that on these nails, but next time I probably would. So once that's done, or if you don't want the apex and you want the flatter nail, you start by just covering the tip and just a tiny bit behind it. Then I use the brush to tap on the color that I want in the front. I'm using gel here for my glue. That's why you see me curing it, because I'm not using a glue or a resin or anything like that for the dip, because I don't have that. The kit that I had just comes with the powders. It didn't come with the resin. So I'm just using a gel base coat. Then you go in, tap on your product to get it to have a nice fade. This just makes it so it ombres really beautifully. I found another technique on my other hand that I liked better, but I know a lot of people prefer this technique. So you just tap on that first layer, cure that, and then the second layer you're going to go a little bit farther back, tap that on. Once I get 2 nails done, then I bring in the orange, which I'm going to use in back, and pour that on to my nail. And then give that a flash cure, and then go into my next 2 nails. So you can just see again, same process. I'm tapping on the powder, the yellow, just to ombre it back. I've gone about halfway, maybe 3/4 actually. I've gone 3/4 with the gel this time, just left out the cuticle area. And then, like I said, once I get the yellow tapped on, then I put on the orange, and I just scoop the orange right on top, tap off the excess, go in for the full cure of whatever your base gel cure time is. So I do 3 layers. Let's see. First layer is the tip, just the yellow. Second layer is 3/4 of the nail. Third layer is the full nail. And then once I have that done, I check and make sure I like the shape of the nails. If I find that they're bumpy or not shaped the way that I want them to be, I do file and buff them down. Then I go in with 2 layers of clear acrylic. Now, I really apologize, guys. I lost my friggin' clips for that as well. I totally lost all my footage for after this part here. This is the last layer that I actually show. So after this, like I said, you file it down the way that you want it, and then you go in with 2 layers of the clear acrylic. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I'm really, really sorry that I lost so much footage for this video. I didn't want to just scrap it. I actually lost the whole video, along with another video, but my other video I wasn't able to get back. This one I was able to get most of it back, so I didn't want to scrap it, so I just kept what I could. So there it is. Here's just the instructions to make sure after you do the 2 layers of clear, you want to shape and finish file your nails. Then do 2 layers of top coat to seal it in. Do some cuticle oil, and you're set. So that's it, guys. I hope you like them. Let me know what you think down in the comments. and I'll see you next time. Bye.